What's in the forefront of your grieving brain? What do you wake up thinking about? What's ruminating within your mind? Something you're thinking about over and over again. If you're feeling like your brain is foggy, scattered, even panicky, you're not alone. You're grieving. I'm Christine Dernederlanden. I'm an expert in traumatic grief and bereavement. And this is an episode of Grief Unfiltered, where we talk about grief right now, today, and in the very moment that you're sitting in. Today's episode, I really want to dive in to what happens to our brain during grief. Before we start, and I give you 5 ways to kind of calm your brain down, we must realize that what we're thinking about every day is really what's monopolizing our brain. But when traumatic grief hits us, what really happens to your brain? Let's start with the prefrontal cortex. That is the part of your brain that's actually at the front. And when a traumatic event and any form of grief that you are impacted with causes the prefrontal cortex to literally shut down. I want to repeat that for you. When you are impacted by any form of traumatic grief or any form of grief, the prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, shuts down. And what exactly does the prefrontal cortex do? It is the part of your brain that helps you make decisions. It organizes your thoughts. It really is the voice of the inner coach or inner critic. So when we are impacted by grief in any form, the prefrontal cortex is impacted. And what happens to our brain? We end up going into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Again, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I want you for 1 second to think about what you would be doing if you were being chased by a bear. If you were running for your life because a bear has decided that you're its next meal. That's when your prefrontal cortex comes into play. It says fight or flight or freeze or fawn. What are you going to do? This same feeling, the same reaction the brain does to grief, especially traumatic grief. This is our instincts as human beings. We choose one because we are built that way. So let's kind of look at those survival modes one by one. So the first, fight. This one you feel an extreme amount of anger. This is you snap easily. You might be arguing with people more or getting frustrated over things that normally wouldn't bother you. But when we are in fight mode during our grief, we really want to understand. We might be fighting the cause of death to our loved one, the cause of a divorce, the cause of our animal's death, the cause of anything, identity confusion. There's so many forms of grief, but fight mode is really felt within those anger emotions. Then we go into flight. Now, this one I think is quite easy to identify, which is usually people are working a lot. This is when we want to keep ourselves busy and you want to avoid being still. We want to overwork, distract our brains from what's really going on. Because if we keep our minds moving and going, then we don't really have to really face what's happening. And I want you to know that these different protection mechanisms or modes that our brain have are not all bad. that we do want to fight for a cause and we are angry and we do want to fly away from what's happening and keep ourselves moving. But we also want to wonder, are they holding us back from healing? The next is freeze. You're stuck. You feel frozen. You don't know where to go. You can't think. You can't decide. And everything feels like too much. You are overwhelmed and you're just stuck and frozen. And in this time, it's like the emotions are spinning and spinning and spinning. And you have just frozen in time, wondering, what do I do next? And it's impossible to really make a decision. The last is fawn. This one is relatively new, but it really makes sense. You decide to please people. You decide to hide your emotions, your grief, so that you don't make everybody uncomfortable that's around you. So everybody is okay with the fact that you're grieving. So you hide your emotions and you're making it so everyone is okay that's in your company. And it's kind of like ignoring your grief and acting like it doesn't exist. Now, these are all normal trauma responses. Again, all normal trauma responses. They are not a weakness, they're a protection. It is like emotional denial. The brain is trying to keep you safe in a world that no longer feels safe. And so your brain is slowly bringing you to the reality that this is happening to you. And I'm sure if you're grieving right now, or you have a loved one or a friend who is grieving, you've seen examples of all of these in them. Even if you are struggling with certain things in life, you'll find yourself wanting to really be in that fawn state where I don't want to talk about what's going on in my life right now that's causing me grief. So it's easier to ignore it when I'm in company of people. Then you may find yourself just wanting to dive into work and ignore what's been causing you grief lately and just focus in on that. And other times you may find yourself really, really, really wanting to fight, maybe the injustice. And that fight mode is also okay, that you're trying to look at ways to kind of figure out this anger you carry and how you can make sure that that injustice doesn't happen to somebody else. And sometimes we need to freeze in life. We need to freeze in our grief and just feel and allow. And that's okay too. In this episode, we're talking about our grieving brain. And when it comes to children, they too do think they're in survival mode. They experience fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. My very first book, Where's Robert, which is actually my first book that I wrote about my brother Robert, who fell over the Niagara Falls Gorge to his death. Robert was 19 and I was 14. It's a children's story about finding our loved ones within ourselves. But what's great about this, it is also the recipient of a certificate of appreciation from the Secretary of Defense, for it aided over 6,000 family from the September 11th terrorist attacks. The book comes with a memory box, a memory journal, and the ability to write to me and share your grief story. These activities allow a child's prefrontal cortex, that grieving brain, to explore a different perspective, to share their story, to think a little bit different. This is helping us move our way from survival mode into healing mode. If you'd love to get a copy of Where's Robert, please visit robertspress.com. And yes, my company is after my brother Robert, who died at the age of 19 and I was 14 to a fall over the Niagara Falls Gorge. So if you'd like to get a copy and learn a little bit about the very first book I wrote, please visit robertspress.com. So I really want to take you into the next 5 things you can do to really calm the grieving brain. And that's what you will have. You have a grieving brain. And the grieving brain is also the survival mode brain. That means you're in that mode to survive. The brain thinks it needs to survive. And how can we tame it? How can we really bring our brain back to the place where it doesn't have to run because it's frightened of the bear that's chasing it? So let's start with number one. Name it to tame it. Number one, what you're feeling, say it out loud. If you are feeling angry, say it. I feel angry. If you feel sad, let the tears go. I feel sad. And you may feel sad all day. You may feel angry all day. You may feel happiness all day. And then that usually is followed by guilt because you miss your loved one. But realize if we name that, we're bringing it to the forefront of our brain. We're challenging your prefrontal cortex. You're challenging your brain. Your brain goes, wait a minute, we're going to talk about what I'm trying to hide? And that's great. You can take it one step farther. Write it in your journal. Write it on your mirror. Name it, and you will tame it. If you express it, it will calm. Number two, ground yourself. I love this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, 5, things you see. So, we want to bring you back to the present. So, ground yourself. Look around. Name 5 things you can see at this very moment. Then you want to look at 4 things you can touch. Then we're doing 3 that you can hear, 2 that you can smell, 1 that you can taste. What we're doing is grounding you. We're bringing you to this very moment. What we're saying is, no bears chasing you. What we are saying is, yes, you're in a state of grief, but that trauma, that immense panic is not in this very present moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look around. What can you see? What can you touch? What can you smell? What can you taste? Ground yourself to where you are at this very moment. Number 2, move your body. There is nothing better for stress than getting out for a walk, getting out for stretching, or even swaying. And you know what's even better? And swaying actually is very calming. So that's why they suggest that for the nervous energy we carry. But remind your brain it's not in danger. So what's best to do? Hug yourself, literally. If you do it, it actually feels great. You know, one of the episodes that are coming up, it's actually the next episode, we talk about saying I love you to yourself and loving yourself and saying to yourself, I love you. You would not believe what comfort that brings. And that's what we want to do. We want to move our body. We want to be able to feel it. And we want it to know that we're here to take care of it. Number 4, overstimulation. Your brain is so sensitive right now, that prefrontal cortex, and you know what I'm talking about. It is ruminating, it is thinking over and over and over and over again about the event of your grief. It could be the actual event. It could be, what am I going to do today? My life has been changed. You could be in that depth of emotions, and we want to give it some time to heal. We want to step away from the news. We want to step away from things that are causing us to overthink and let your nervous system breathe. You know, when you're watching TV and you're watching the commercial, and that simple commercial about anything could be making you cry. And that's okay. Let those tears be present. Name them to tame them. But also realize, don't burden yourself with heavy social media or heavy news. Your brain needs to calm. It needs to heal. And lastly, reach out. Grief is not meant to be carried alone. We don't carry grief alone. Grief is to be with a group of people. Grieving is not meant to happen alone. That's why we have all these traditions. That's why we have support groups. We have friends. You feel comfort when you simply send a text to a friend and say, "Would you like to go for a walk today? Would you like to just have a chat?" Reach out to someone you know who is grieving. It's always good to do that because what we're doing is we're challenging the prefrontal cortex, our brain, our reasoning department of the brain, to think a little different. We're challenging it to go, hey, wait a second. I'm okay. I don't need to be in survival mode. I need to take that step towards a healing mode. I need to connect with other people. There's so many great programs that you can do at a hospice. Your local hospice has many bereavement programs. Funeral homes have great bereavement programs. We have resources here at robertspress.com. We can connect you with some of these great bereavement programs. And, you know, walking this journey with others is such the best way to heal in your grief. It truly is. But we need to understand that our brain is in survival mode, and that's okay. But don't be so hard on yourself. Be gentle. Be gentle. So grief isn't something we get over. It's something that we integrate into who we are and we learn to live with it. And that learning starts with understanding how your mind and body are reacting to your grief, your loss, your death. Your death of a loved one, your loss of a pet, your loss of confusion of identity, divorce, job. I can name so many, home. The grief is so intertwined in everything we do. And yet it's something we never bring to the forefront. It is something that we don't understand. When your mind is in survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that prefrontal cortex is thinking a bear is chasing it. And we need to do those 5 steps to really bring it down to say, hey, you're okay. I want to say to you that your brain feels like it's in a battlefield today. It's okay. You're grieving. And be gentle with yourself. You're doing better than you really think. And remember, I'm here with you. I'm one breath, one day, one step at a time. That's how we make it through grief. And one of the biggest things I want you to know, you're not broken. You're simply grieving. Again, you're not broken. You're grieving. And there's a space for healing. There really is. And again, that's one day, one moment, one breath at a time. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget that it is only together that we grieve, and it is only together that we heal. Take care, everybody.